Thank you.
The story begins in London, where Agent Nathan briefs Director Khan on a high-stakes mission. A critical shipment was stolen 2 nights prior, and recovering it is of utmost importance. When Khan inquires about the contents, Nathan admits he doesn't know, only that it's going to be sold on the black market for $10 billion, drawing interest from major terrorist groups. Nathan is granted full authority to assemble a team and recover the asset, known only by its codename, the Handle. Nathan's first recruit is Orson, once a top-tier agent, though he's become erratic in recent years, developing unusual fears and indulging in an extravagant lifestyle. Nathan finds him in Morocco and reminds him that his $2 million in vacation spending must now be justified. Orson agrees to join the mission, but only if his luxuries aren't compromised. They immediately head to Madrid to rendezvous with the rest of the team, JJ and Sarah. The team soon begins tracking a man carrying a disc believed to contain essential intel about the Handle. Sarah instructs Jane to tail the target while the others set up an ambush. However, it's Jane who ends up ambushed, revealing that they're not the only ones on this mission. The entire team is taken down one by one, and things spiral out of control. Orson recognizes the attackers' tactics and warns that Mike and John, his former allies turned traitors, are likely involved. Orson becomes the next target but skillfully eliminates 2 assailants and signals JJ. Together, they neutralize the threat and escape, although they are pursued. During the chase, Sarah, with Nathan's help, copies the contents of the disc. Unfortunately, their target dies from a heart attack mid-chase, and the disc is split in 2, one half revealing a specific address and time, the other encrypted beyond Sarah's expertise. Nathan decides to impersonate the dead man to meet with the buyer, identified via facial recognition as Ben Harris, a known associate of arms dealer Greg Simons. The only way to reach Greg is through one of his exclusive parties. To gain access, they blackmail a famous actor named Danny, who idolizes Greg, by threatening to leak compromising footage with his sister-in-law, stolen from his phone. The plan works perfectly. Greg, thrilled by Danny's presence in France, sends over a $10 million check and a party invitation. At the party, Danny charms Greg, allowing the team to observe that Greg's assistant controls his phone. Sarah needs to get close to her, but complications arise when Mike crashes the event. A frantic race begins. Orson and Mike both race to the phone, while Sarah tries to clone it remotely. John's sudden appearance jeopardizes their cover, but Orson defeats Mike's henchmen just in time. With the phone cloned, the team escapes. Sarah uses the cloned data to plant microphones in Greg's office. They overhear him speaking with Alexander, a Russian mob boss, who is currently in possession of the Handle and seeking a buyer. Nathan, frustrated with Mike's continued interference, contacts KH to check for a possible mole within the agency. The team's next move is to infiltrate Alexander's base and install spyware on their systems to track either the Handle's location or the site of its upcoming sale. Orson fakes a burglary to cover their hacking activity. The next morning, Sarah discovers Greg is heading to Turkey to meet a contact named Qasim, who's found a buyer. Danny is assigned another undercover role, this time with Sarah posing as his girlfriend, playing on Greg's habit of pursuing his friends' partners. Danny casually mentions his relationship with Sarah, prompting Greg to immediately take interest in her, even gifting her a car. Meanwhile, Orson and JJ tail Qasim, realizing Mike is also in pursuit. When Qasim departs, he leaves behind a newspaper that Ben retrieves. Orson chooses to follow Ben instead. After a chase through a crowded market and some motorbike action, Orson is forced to take the stairs to keep Ben's phone jammed. They eventually struggle at the top of a building, and Orson kills Ben. The newspaper provides the key to decrypt the disk, which reveals the Handle is actually an advanced AI capable of hacking into global nuclear missile systems. However, it requires an activation code, now only obtainable by Orson impersonating Ben in a deal with Greg. Sarah will assist remotely, using voice-altering tech to mimic Ben's voice. At the meetup, the buyer arrives with $10 million. Sarah's voice tech flawlessly deceives Greg into giving the activation code. But as they prepare to leave, Greg's money suddenly vanishes from his account. Alarmed, the Russians turn their guns on Orson. JJ triggers a firefight, allowing Orson to escape with the artifact. He alerts Sarah to flee as well. Mike arrives with a helicopter full of weapons, wipes out the Russians, and sends his team after Orson. Danny hotwires a car, and Sarah narrowly avoids Greg's advances as she escapes. By the time Greg realizes what's happening, Danny and Sarah are already gone, kicking off a high-speed chase. Mike briefly gains control, but JJ lands a critical shot at his chopper. Meanwhile, Danny uses movie stunt skills to evade gunfire as Sarah proves her talents aren't limited to tech. Orson arrives in a helicopter and fires missiles to clear their path. Once safe, Nathan reveals Mike has defected from a rival agency and plans to use the handle for his own gain. With few options left, Orson confronts Greg again. Sarah reveals she's hacked Greg's servers and stolen all his client data. Cornered, Greg agrees to cooperate, revealing Mike's plan. Trent and Arnold, two wealthy figures from Greg's past, control 90% of the world's gold. They plan to reprogram the AI to cause a global power grid collapse, creating a new world order where gold is the only currency and they reign supreme. That night, the team prepares for a final showdown. Greg and Danny act as bait, luring Trent and Arnold. Greg demands his $1 billion cut, but they dismiss him, claiming Mike completed the mission. Greg insists and sets up a demonstration. Missiles rain down, destroying communications towers. He hands Danny documents listing their families' identities and threatens to strike them in 90 seconds unless he's paid. As the villains panic, Orson infiltrates their base, taking down guards while the others stall. Greg leaves as chaos erupts. Realizing they're outmaneuvered, Trent and Arnold begin transferring money. Mike, secretly cloning their credentials, then has them executed. By the time Orson reaches the top floor, everyone is dead, except for Mike. They fight, and Orson ultimately kills him, reclaiming the handle. JJ and Sarah arrive in time to extract him. The next day, Orson hands the handle to Nathan, who informs the team that Greg vanished with the $1 billion. Danny, however, is safe, and now starring in a movie directed by Greg. The team plans to visit the set, using the money they earned from the jewels they stole from the Russians.